it was yesterday for me. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's the joys of weather.
Hey, today Barry and I are going to talk about the chemistry of connection, and there's all sorts of chemistry and all sorts of ways that we can connect, and we're going to talk about all those different levels, about mental and emotional and physical and spiritual, and oh my.
Don't give too much weight though.
Oh yeah. We'd like to welcome you to the newsstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB, solo network, radio, TV, and podcast, #1 internet singles, top network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
So often people say to me when they go on a first meeting, I want to feel connected. I want to feel a connection. And I know underneath that they're saying they want to feel butterflies. They want to feel a physical, chemical connection. And boy, we all want to feel that, but it doesn't always work out well because then we're so feeling so important about the physical connection that we're not thinking about, well, do we like each other? Do we have mental things in common? Could we carry on a conversation together? We just are thinking about getting naked, and it doesn't really start things off on a good footing, I don't think. What do you think, Barry?
Well, if I can be blunt, it's like a lot of women think that men just think with their dicks.
It's really true.
That's kind of the answer. And the thing is, we are driven, and we talked about this before on the shows, we are definitely driven visually. So we are stimulated by how a woman looks, which can seem like, yes, we're just thinking sexually, but it's what gets our attention initially. Anyway, but we're going to get into the connection piece and the chemistry piece as well. But just want to say as a precursor that for us men, it's very simple to say that, we like the way a woman looks, which is not a bad thing. Just that's the way we're wired.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, continuing, please.
And it really is pretty mandatory. I mean, it's a factory installation. Talk to the factory in the sky, the person that made us all the way we are, that they said he wants men to feel attracted to us physically. So that is the way that it starts. But that doesn't mean that he only wants that from us. And we're in charge of how quickly that's going to move along. So a connection to me feels like I am interested in sitting here with you. I am interested in getting to know you as a person. And I want to make sure that you're interested in getting to know me as a person too, that you're interested in learning what I think and how I feel about the world and about things that are important to me, like my family. And we all know I want to talk about horses and that I want to talk about things that I'm passionate about in my life. And I want to hear what you're passionate about as well, so that I do see if I feel a connection in all those other ways besides just, do you give me butterflies in my tummy?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that we tend to be predisposed because of all the way that maybe Hallmark movies present it, but certainly on the dating apps set it up to be as well, is there's got to be that quick hit, that dopamine, like, oh my God, I'm so excited by this person. And to be blunt, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work that way. It might be part of the picture if you're lucky, but oftentimes it takes getting to know somebody before that really happens. And like I said, men are drawn visually, but it also means we have an impatience to know this is the right person to be with. So for us men, we've got to slow the F down to really get to know this person, to see if there's something beyond just the initial, oh, wow, chemistry. Because I'll speak to this recently. Last Sunday, I go to the muscular center I go to. Lots of good looking people come through there and lots of beautiful women. And there were a couple of different women who came through there that got my attention massively. But the thing is, I know myself well enough to say, as soon as I see somebody go, wow, that's an amazing looking woman, count to 10. Be patient enough to notice something and then go, oh, okay, that was just the initial like, wow, flash, and then it's gone. And that's the thing I would say to all men, is really part of our wiring, because we are so drawn to the initial chemistry, the initial attraction, that if we can be patient enough to count to 10, meaning, I don't mean like 10 seconds or so, but, take a few moments, meet the person more than one time, get to know the person beyond just their pictures on the dating app, to see if, in fact, that wow factor continues. Because that's what the chemistry really is. It's the wow factor.
Wow is really a good word, because looking at somebody and saying wow is not a bad thing. We're not saying that, and we're going to continue not saying that. But we're also saying When you talk to them, do you continue to say wow about the words that come out of their mouth? Do you continue to say wow when you hear things that come from their heart? Do you continue to say wow when you hear about what's happened in their past, what their plans are for their future? That's the thing, because if you get too concerned about the wow of their physicality, it like causes ringing in our ears that you can't always hear the other important things they're saying. You can't concentrate on the other important things you're saying. And you sometimes lose track of asking those really important questions. It has certainly happened to both Barry and I in the past. We have talked about how we dated that way and decided that that really wasn't working for us. And we both have decided that that's how I met my late husband, was deciding to date differently. And Barry just told about that's how he's not approaching women that way now, that you really need to stop and say, are they going to wow me on all those different areas? And am I going to allow myself to go slower so that I can see, do they relate to me on all those levels, and not just because they think I'm cute or handsome or pretty or whatever, sexy, right?
Right. And at the same time, just to make this clear as well, we're not saying you should not be attached or enjoy the fact that you can be thought of as being pretty or attractive or handsome, all those different terms, but just don't live on it. Like if you put all your, it's like, don't put your eggs in one basket, so to speak. It's like the OB about what else do you bring to the table? What else do you bring to the table? And what else is of value about you that makes you interesting and exciting and fun and playful? Because I'll say it this way as well. There's 3 ways I want to go. So this one first. There is the challenge sometimes where we get so overwhelmed by the physical attraction that we don't realize that when we get together with them, there's something totally obvious that we missed because we weren't looking clearly. Yeah. And I know, and I shared this a while ago too, about how I remember meeting this good-looking woman. I saw this woman at just crossing paths. I was like, wow, who's this woman? But the funny thing was, as soon as she started walking, my vision of her changed, because she poised beautifully. But she walked like a man. She walked like a woman, and it totally clunked for me. Even though she was gorgeous, it's like what she carried herself wasn't sexy or attractive. So chemistry can be that fleeting. And I'm not saying that was chemistry, but that idea about the initial attraction, that what gets us drawn in, what makes us want to be with that person, sometimes is transitory. Again, count to 10. But the idea being is that connection, and really I almost want to say it's title to chemistry or attraction or connection, because it really isn't. It's like connection is one thing, chemistry is another. They overlap, but not the same thing. And connection for me is where the real joy, the real wonder, the real love can express itself, because chemistry isn't love either. So when we think about chemistry, realize that's what it is. It's a chemical reaction between you and another person, like putting 2 volatile chemicals together and pow, something happens. That's not love. That's an explosion. In a way.
And I certainly found that with my late husband, because I had decided to stop dating to really just look for physical connection, because that's what I had done before.
Yeah.
And that there couldn't be anything off-putting about how somebody looked physically. I wouldn't be able to continue dating them. So when I met my late husband, I thought he was attractive. And the more he talked at our first meeting, the more I admired what he was saying, the more I liked what the questions he asked me, the more I liked how he treated me. And I couldn't wait to see him again. But I wasn't physically attracted to him, as I've said a number of times, for a few months. I mean, it really took me a while to warm up physically to him. But every time I saw him, I liked him more. I felt more connected to how he thought and how he treated me, and the more questions he would ask me, and how interested he was in getting to know me, and how interesting he was as a person. So I do believe that for me personally, that's what continued to help me grow more chemical about the physical part, was because so much of the other connections just kept getting better and better. And for me, it turned out that that made the physical connection better than I'd ever had, even when I'd had such a huge physical connection in the beginning with other people, which totally surprised me.
But that's the thing, we learn these things. And for me, yeah, I've had chemical-based reactions with women and had very brief, and this is the clear thing, very brief interactions with them, because the chemistry didn't sustain itself. Connection can sustain. And I'll speak later on, maybe after the break even, about how you can renew chemistry, because chemistry is not a one-time thing. We do sometimes think that, the initial chemistry is all you get, and that's your shot. Once it's done, it's done. No, that's not true. However, like you were saying, with building connection first, connection is this often ignored but vital part of what builds chemistry as well. Because when we have connection with somebody, it's like you're starting to turn up the heat, you're starting to turn up the juice, and the excitement's building. And so connection, and yes, we have connection with friends and with family, other people too. We're saying in this context of a relationship, connection is the undergirding. It's not the precursor so much, but it's also the structure on which we build the relationship. So when we have a connection with somebody, there's value there. There's desire to connect. There's desire to be with that person. Desire to find out more about them. And it may not be romantic initially. That's the other part too. Is oftentimes we meet somebody, and the chemistry is what gets the sexual juices going, but the romantic energy doesn't come yet. But with connection, it's almost like that builds something more valuable and more long term that can actually become the fuel that then generates, or I should say, awakens the romantic connection between two people too. And you're going to jump in. You got ideas.
I found that I've talked to clients that they have felt what they have called chemistry because they met doing something that they were both passionate about. They met doing an interesting charity, or they were doing something with the environment, and they were both so excited about it. They had a chemical reaction that wasn't the physical, sexual one. And it was so fun to hear about that. We were both doing this volunteer thing in Africa, and we just like couldn't stop talking. We talked about all night. We were up till 2 o'clock in the morning talking about this, but the physical thing happened later. And it was so fun to hear these people talk passionately in a way that I mostly heard people talk passionately about. We couldn't wait to tear our clothes off, that these people couldn't stop talking about, you did that and you did that. And how did you come here? And oh my gosh, and you know this about these people. And you know that. I was like, how fun is that? That they were still having the same hormone rush, the same excitement in their brain. Their bodies were still getting the same endorphins, and it had nothing to do with sex. It was really fun the first time I heard that.
Yeah. And that to me is such a good reminder, is the fact that we do have that ability. The thing is, with connection, it really has been overlooked. You know, we have to, we especially, I mean, dating apps, another one. I've said quite often times with clients, but also experienced myself on the dating apps, is that their pictures may look great, but if their bio, what they talk about, who they are and what they want, what they desire, what they bring to the table, isn't firing more cylinders for me, then there's no joy there. It's like that would be just a fling. It wouldn't be a relationship. So that's why I'm adamant about connection comes first, chemistry comes second in the sequence. But we're so caught up in the paradigm where it's going to be quick fix, and we live in a society basically that is almost like fast. It's like fast food. It's expedient, it's fun, but you know, it's like Chinese food. You know, you're hungry 2 hours later. It's fun, but you don't feel, it doesn't sustain itself. So you've got to be willing to do the patience move to get to know somebody. And you know, we're talking about ways about how you connect and what you can do with that. Like you said, one thing about if you have common interests, do things you love doing, and you find common ground, that can be very exciting. But it builds from there. And I mean, I'll put it simply this way. If you watch our show, it's because you want to learn about dating and having a relationship. Most people watch our show are in it for the long haul, as they want to find somebody they want to be with, not just have lots and lots of dates with different people and not go anywhere. The chemistry piece is really, some people like, oh, just a quick fix, done, move on to the next one. But what we're talking about here is really the value of taking the time to get to know somebody. Because dating is really, in my view, an exploration of common ground, of interest in what people are about. That's the connection you're building right there. So make sure you're using that tool, that vehicle, to get to know somebody, because you never know. Yes, it may not be the partner you want to be with, but they may know somebody who they want you to meet. You never know that too. So don't burn any bridges, up it that way.
Well, that's really smart. Yeah, I was having a conversation with they're just dipping their toe into the water, a widowed man, and I said, the word dating, initially, it's about sorting. You're just sorting. You know, do you want to continue seeing this person? Is there another person in the picture? Are you looking for both of them? Who's running ahead? Who do you need to know more about? That's really the point of dating. It's not to get in a relationship. It's to what's working for you. What do you need to learn more about yourself? What do you need to learn more about this person? Oh my gosh, this person asked me a question. I need to answer that. And now I'm going to ask the next person that same question. It's so educational, especially for widowed people or divorced people that have been married for 30, 40 years and you haven't been asked these kind of questions or asked them in a long time, as much as I come up with questions for them to ask, it's amazing what they learn out in the dating world. So to keep seeing what that sorting process is and what fires you up, what feels you connected, so that you now go, oh, I'm starting to see the connection. And if you have too much physical chemistry in the beginning, it's too distracting, right? We've both been through that, and we talk to people that have been through that. So if you can feel a mental connection or even a little bit of an emotional connection and put the physical part a little on the back burner, it's a much better way to do the sorting process first. And then when you're now like, oh yeah, I want to concentrate on this person, then you can move more into the chemical part of the connection, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's putting things in the right order. Let's put it that way. You know, the challenge is that we think that we can jump straight into it. And from personal experience, when I've jumped into the chemistry right away, that's usually when the relationship was the shortest duration. So again, reiterating what I said before, if you really want to have a long-term relationship, build the connection first, because chemistry becomes the gravy on top, so to speak. It's like you've got the core built, and you know, the juicy stuff on top of that, which is the chemistry and the fun and the playfulness and everything else comes forward. It's not rocket science, but it's also straightforward. But most people don't do it that way. They build from chemistry first and hope the connection shows up later. And it's backwards.
And we don't want to do things backwards. We want to do things that don't put the cart before the horse. Start building the foundation. And, you know, first is when you find yourself, what kinds of things make me feel connected? If you think about your friends and the activities you do, what are the things that light you up? And then go do those things and you'll meet people there. Or make sure that when you, as Barry said, when you're reading a profile that you're like, oh, they're interested in similar things, or wow, they're interested in something I never thought about. At least write to them and ask them about that. That's one of the key things. If somebody's interested in something that they write about on their profile, ask them a question about it. Say, I've never heard of that. Tell me. There were 2 things on that he was reading in a profile. We were looking at it together and I'm like, why wouldn't you ask about that? I mean, it was fascinating. Even if you don't even care about it. It was fascinating because he was interested in other things. And how fun to ask a question about it, to see, do you have a connection just because they're passionate about it? I mean, I thought that would be fun, at least to start out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's probably the biggest missed opportunity to not even find out what somebody's about. Because frankly, why not spend, I mean, especially for those of us who are above 40, that's the time, right? And 50 and beyond, is the more life experience you have, the more you've got to share, the more you're interested to be in interest to somebody. So frankly, every time you meet somebody, you have the opportunity to meet a new perspective on life that you may not have noticed or done before because their journey's not been yours. And so part of life, and this is beyond the dating, this is actually being any sort of connection, is what would it be like if you just talk to somebody to find out more about who they are and what they come from? I mean, frankly, if you're single and you're not dating at the moment, practice with people you meet in the store, you know, at Starbucks or shopping or at the gym or when you're hiking. If you start a conversation, find out more about them, practice your connection skills, because frankly, that might change your life and theirs.
You never know, right?
Indeed.
So we're getting ready to take a break. But before we go on our break, I'd love to tell you if any of this is striking a chord with you and you'd like to talk to Barry or I, the way to talk to me is to go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. Scroll to the middle of the page to the What's Holding You Back from Love questionnaire. There's 10 brief questions about where you are and where you'd like to be. And then you'll have access to my online calendar and you can schedule a conversation for free with me at your convenience. You can also send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how would people get a hold of you, Barry?
Well, similar to Christine, I have a website and a way to reach me. So if you go to my site, which is my name, barryselby.com, at the top of the screen is a button you can click on, which is Let's Chat. And that button takes you to my calendar and also a form you fill out, which basically has you answer a bunch of questions so that I know what you're looking for and you can clarify what you're looking for. And then we schedule a time on my calendar. We have a Zoom chat and really decide if we want to work together, but also if I can help you navigate where you're going even before we get there. So that's my free gift to you. So definitely worth signing up for that. It's a 20-minute conversation, no fee, just my gift to you. If you want to send me an email, just send me one at barry@barryselby.com if you have any questions or thoughts or invitations to speak at your events, even that.
Perfect.
So
we're going to, sorry.
That's all right.
We're
And
going to
that's
take
it.
a break for our two sponsors, the National Widowers Organization. We so appreciate them being a sponsor for us. And then also the streamingnetwork.com. We'll be right back after a couple of words from them to talk more about chemistry of connection on Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry.
See you in a moment.
The National Widowers Organization is a men's grief network. Our website serves as a virtual toolbox of free resources for men coping with the death of a loved one, whether a spouse, parent, a child, or lifelong friend. Our goal is to bring men together and arm them with as much information as possible to get through a devastating time in their lives. The NWO has a team of bereavement specialists and fellow widowers to help support you. You are not alone. For more info, go to nationalwidowers.org.
We're back with
Yes.
Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. And today we're talking about the chemistry of connection. And Barry mentioned that we might be talking about how to keep the connection and chemistry going as your relationship is progressing. I think that's a really important topic because if you do let it grow slowly, people can worry about, well, will it burn out? How would we keep the fire burning? How would we keep moving forward? And I certainly do talk to lots of couples about that. And it's really important to be aware of it because you can't just let it sit there. My husband, one of his favorite toys in the kitchen it was called a set it and forget it. And he would put this wonderful pork roast covered with all these seasons and stuff. And it worked really well for that, but you can't do a set it and forget it for a relationship.
No, the War Kitchen says you can use, but that's another story entirely. The thing I want to talk about chemistry is I said it before in I may put it in my book, I'm not sure, but chemistry is renewable. Because the thing about it is we do think that when we have the initial chemistry with excitement, it's that newness. And the challenge is that we think because it's a new person, that's for a lot of us what the excitement's about. It's like exploring a new body, a new way of being, new breath, and new intimacy, all these new sexual things that happen. It's like, wow, it's so fun. And then it's gone because you've done it once. It's like it's over with. But the truth is, the chemistry is a choice point because we choose. And this is going to sound crazy to say it is, but our hormones don't control us. We have freedom to choose. And with chemistry, especially as we get more mature and we've gone out of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the raging hormones of a younger generation, like teens and 20s type thing, that we can renew it. And the thing about chemistry, the way I defined it and the way I've learned from one of my teachers, is that, well, as you were saying, like we get habitual and we get like automatic pilots. We do set and forget it. We don't think about it. So sex can become mundane. It can be mechanical. It can be like autopilots. Like, oh yeah, we're doing it again. Great, and it's over with. Whoopee. That sort of flatness. It's not fun. But chemistry, in this context, I want to frame it is the excitement and the precursor that leads you to that wonderful chance to play together and be together. And one of the things that I learned from my teachers, because when I went through my first exposure to the understanding of the masculine and feminine polarity back 12, 15, over 15 years ago now, was understanding that we have a choice about how we reside in our physical being. And when with a partner, and this is true actually of gay relationships or a straight relationship, because the chemistry is between the masculine and feminine energetic, which brief cliff notes is that we carry both inside us and we live on the spectrum within one and the other. But what happens is when we're living our lives, we don't stay on one end of the spectrum or the other, we float somewhere in the middle. And when both partners are floating between the masculine and feminine polarities, which are like magnets, the further apart they are, the stronger the connection, we tend to become unconscious to the fact we don't feel connected to anybody to a partner anymore. It's like when couples have been together forever, they become like best friends. They don't become lovers anymore because they've gotten out of the role. Chemistry being renewal means you have to put some consciousness into the effort, of course. It's not just automatic that way. You do need to put effort into it. But what you need to do is remember your polarity choice, meaning that if your partner is naturally her preference, and I'm using male and female as an overlay this way, but it doesn't have to be. But if the woman tends to be more in a feminine when she really wants to feel that strongly, and the partner, the man chooses to be in his masculine because that's his preference, then do things that put you back in those polarities, because when you do that, you create more attraction to each other. And it can be as simple as when a woman's, because especially when both partners are working, both partners tend to be in the masculine because that's the way work functions. It puts people in the masculine energetically. So women, if you are a business person, you want to get like fun and playfulness with your partner after a long day at work, take a long bath or go to a spa treatment, do things that put you back in your feminine. For men, for us, it might be if we were sitting at a desk all day, go exercise, go punch a bag at the gym, or go play some sports to get you back into your masculine. And what happens is you start to reconnect and create that more magnetism that you started with. Because really what chemistry is magnetism, like magnets that you have North and South Pole. They get connected to it or repulsed from each other. So when you really do rebuild that energetic difference, that's what creates the excitement in the chemistry again. So chemistry, in my book, is renewable.
I love thinking about it as a renewable resource. I think that's such a great way to look at it. I like that a lot. One of the things I've suggested to people is to independently put some fun ideas that you would like to try in a jar, and then turns pulling an idea out, or you could suggest pick out theirs and they can pick out yours. And is it a fun thing to try in bed? Is it a fun thing to wear? Is it a fun place to go? And because, as you said, sometimes you do the same thing and it works, but you'd like to try something different. And it's certainly, the other person gets to say no, or they'd like to not do it that way, but this way instead. But often the other person is fine with doing something different. They just hadn't thought about it.
Right.
So the other thing that is kind of a challenge for us women is if we haven't been taught that we can ask for something that we'd like, we want you to just figure it out. That I love encouraging women to figure out, what would you like? Would you like him to be more forthright? Would you like to take the lead sometimes? Would you like him to do something differently? Would you like to do something differently? Then ask, please ask. And I have personally and professionally, I know they're out there, but I have not met a man that said, I don't want a woman to ever take the lead. I've asked a lot of men this question. Would you like a woman to come and ask you for a date? Yes. Would you like a woman to come and flirt? Yes. Would you like a woman to take the lead in bed? Yes. I mean, there's not even let me think about it. It's always been yes.
Yep.
Tell women generally you won't get turned down, because men get turned down a lot, sadly.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a chance they could say no, but generally you don't say no very often, certainly not as much as we do. So Be a little bold, ladies, because mostly they're going to say yes. They're just kind of excited that you asked. Almost no matter what you're going to ask, they'll say, okay, they're game, they'll try it. So if it's something you've always wanted to try, or you want to have them do something different, ask. Just ask. You guys are so game. You're so much more gamer than us.
So much gamer.
I don't know. I know that was probably not a word, but I'd said it anyway.
But to underscore that point, is like most men are not so attached to their egos that they won't turn down a woman's advances.
Yeah.
Is that the right way I'm saying it? Yeah, something like that. Or they would turn down. Yeah. So the thing is that, yes, not saying that we're lazy, but it doesn't hurt our egos at all if you want to come and say, I like you and want to talk to you more. Now, the other thing is on the other side, of course, if we don't want to respond, we don't want, if you're not somebody we want to talk to, be okay with them saying no. Say this. Now you're in our camp. That's what we go through all the time. When we go and talk to a woman and she says no, it's like, I'm not saying it's using the other foot in a sense, but reality is, it doesn't hurt to come on to us. And maybe even once you are starting to date somebody, we've already built that trust and rapport and connection, where then she says, my turn sort of thing, and she wants to lean in and sort of lead. That's fine too. The challenge is, and I'm going to say this because of my own experience in my life, is that if I get lazy and let her do it all the time, that sucks for her and for me. So this is not a thing you do all the time. But it's fun to have the role reversal once in a while, just to keep things spicy, that sort of sense, just to be clear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so then you were talking about the masculine and the feminine, that if we want to try out, we women, being a little more assertive and a little more masculine and a little more in control, it's kind of a fun way to just dabble in it. I've dabbled and it turned out to be fun, even though generally I like being in the receptive feminine role. It's really my preference. The times I've said, what do you think? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And I've liked it. I thought it was very fun to be in charge. So
Right.
yeah, I'm a big fan of recommending it now.
It's true, you know?
And I to tell you, nobody's ever said no. So there you go.
Proof is in the pudding.
Uh-huh. So the other way is to not just sexually, but to come up with new experiences, period. You know, go do an adventure together. One of the cute things that happened, my brother and sister-in-law really liked doing experiences together. So they went and took Tai Chi classes together, which was really fun. And what was really good for them is they did it differently. They took the same class at the same time, but the teacher was very fluid about it, and they moved differently, and they experienced it differently, and it was fine with everybody how differently they did it. I mean, they didn't like stick out in the class, but there were different movements that worked best for their body, and the teacher was okay. There were other people doing different too, and it was a fun experience for them because it was a body experience. So there was another way of experiencing their body that wasn't sexual, and they were doing it together. Or even just to go on a walk in a different park, or what you could take after the Ghost movie and go do pot throwing together, you know, make pots together, or do axe throwing if you want to get out some of your aggressions. You know, you're not going to throw it at the person, you're going to throw it at the wall. I mean, there's really been, and go do an escape room. You have to go work on it together. I mean, there's really some fun experiences out there that can keep the spark alive, that you're doing something different outside of your house where you're doing something fun together. I mean, I think that will also help. I mean, think of all the adrenaline you could have when you come home, and then you might want to rip each other's clothes off. You never know.
Just leave the axes at the axe throwing place.
Uh-huh.
One of the options also, I think is a fun one too, is cooking classes. It actually can be a very, especially it's like making pasta, it can be a very sensual experience. It can really turn you on, even though it's nothing to do with physicality. It's just like doing something with your hands that is smooth, sensual. You might discover when you're home, you do want to rip each other's clothes off after that. Just ideas.
Feeding each other food is pretty fun. You know, fondue. I remember when I had my event production company, we did this whole dinner where things were dipped and fed, and we left. You know, we put all this food out, and we were professionals, all left them to their wonderful dinner together. And I got a wonderful thank you note after with flowers. So they obviously enjoyed their dinner, but they were no utensils. They didn't want any utensils. They fed each other. And so then that would be fun. Speaking of food.
Absolutely. No, food is a very sensual experience. So it can definitely be fun for the connection and chemistry.
So to just keep thinking, so talking to each other, taking a shower together or a bath together, doing experiences together so that you do keep the connection alive. I mean, my grandparents always made it a point of, in their 90s, kissing in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Now, I did thought it was cute that my grandmother always kissed my grandfather when they went anywhere in the car. And I always thought it was kind of romantic. And then I rode somewhere in the car and I thought, oh, she thinks they might die, because he was kind of a scary driver. I do have to say that. But I always thought it was romantic anyway. But he was kind of a scary driver. We finally took his keys away. But they kissed all the time into their 90s. It was so lovely and romantic. So I got married the first time on their wedding anniversary because I just thought it was a fun thing to do, because they were so romantic. They met and married in their 60s and lived to be in their 90s. So do that. Kiss, pat on the butt, rub each other's shoulders, you know, say good morning, say I love you a lot if you're to that place in your relationship. There's wonderful ways to keep the connection going and the chemistry going with effort, nice effort. Don't get complacent, right, Barry?
Right.
That's the thing. Chemistry and connection means no complacency.
It's too long a title, but it makes sense. Yeah. And just to reiterate that point is making the relationship important enough to keep it fresh. You know, I talk about how basically for men, we have to have a clear vision of what our mission and purpose is first, then our relationship. But relationship has priority in our lives, period, regardless of where it is in the sequence of first, second, third. And so that means keeping it fresh in your mind, keeping it fresh in your awareness, and doing things to contribute to the relationship. You know, if you had for men, it's like if you have a really cool car, women too, I suppose, but you have a really cool car where you want to take care of it, and you want to give it oil changes, and you wash it, and you polish it, and you shine it all the time. Do you put the same effort into your relationship? Because you should do that or more, frankly. So anything that they say, if anything worth doing is worth doing well, that is true for a relationship as well. So make your relationship something that you value and that you contribute to and that you enjoy, rather than just when you get into a relationship, which I used to do when I was very young. I did not do anymore. It's like when I got in a relationship, it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm there. I'm happy. It's like, no. Once you're in a relationship, that's when the real effort begins, because now it's something you've got to maintain and improve and refine. That's the effort that's required for the chemistry and the connection to keep growing.
I like the word maintenance. I think it's really important. And if you do regular maintenance, it doesn't end up with this big thing like the stitch in time saves 9. I always like that saying. And it's a really good reason for that. So you take good care of yourself, you take good care of the other person, and that helps maintain the relationships with regular maintenance. Put it on your schedule, because otherwise you'll end up with a big problem.
Actually, speaking of that one point, we talked about this one before as well, but the idea of having a relationship status meeting every week or two, or every couple of weeks, is a chance to get together and talk, not to work out the problems, but it can also be to rebuild the connection. Because the other thing, again, like we forget, we get into habits, we get caught off track. If you have a commitment every week or two on the calendar to get together in person, face to face, because you may be traveling and doing other things, well, you basically spend the time reconnecting. That can be one of the best things you do for each other. So it's not just for this isn't working, we need to fix it. It's like, what is working? What can we improve? And how can you stay connected? So use that time wisely.
Such important advice that we both give. Thank you, Barry, for reminding everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So if any of this is landing for you and you would like to talk to Barry or I'll remind you, my website is www.theperfectcatch.com. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you scroll to the middle of the page and click on the What's Holding You Back from Love questionnaire, you have access to my online calendar to schedule a complimentary conversation with me at your convenience. You can also send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. I'd love to invite you to download my free ebook. It's at the top of my website, and I will be happy to send it to you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, and if there's something I'd left out, because I'm getting ready to write my 2.0. You can join my mailing list, and I'll send you a repeat of our podcast every week, and also updates about what's coming up in the new year. And you can also look at the bottom where all my social media icons are: Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube. And I always forget one of them.
That was everything, I think.
Okay, good. And if you go to the YouTube and click on that, you'll see almost 260 podcasts that Barry and I have been doing for over 5 years now. We had an anniversary. And how do people get a hold of you, Barry?
Similar to Christine, again, I have my site, which is my name, barryselby.com. And on the homepage, as I mentioned, at the top of the screen is how to get my calendar. And you can schedule a time with me to talk, and you also fill out a questionnaire and all that sort of stuff. At the bottom of the screen, you can just jump into my email list if you want to become a follower of my work and you want to get an email every week with a replay of these shows. You can definitely do that. In the middle of the screen is the first of my 2 quizzes. I have 2 assessments that I created, 2 quizzes. Basically, one of them, which is the first one on the homepage, is your relationship readiness assessment. Basically, are you ready for a relationship? Take the quiz, figure out where you are. You get an email from me with a breakdown of how ready you are, what things you've got that are working, what things you can improve, and an invitation to talk to me as well. The second quiz isn't on my site, but you can click on it, but you can go there directly, which is barryselby.com/self-quiz. And you may have guessed from the title, it is a self-assessment. And this is really about your relationship with yourself, about where you are in your own relationship and navigation in your life. It's something that I'm going to be building out a whole new website from this piece, but this piece will get you started right now. That's another piece I'm not talking about yet, but it's coming. But if you go to the self-quiz, you'll be able to take that assessment. That one has a big downloadable PDF with a bunch of information and tips and guidance in it as well. So I recommend taking that quiz, because before you can be in any relationship with somebody else, you got to know the one you have with yourself. So I talk about that a lot in my work. Alternatively, you can also find me on social media under my name, Barry Selby. So you can go to Barry Selby on Facebook, on YouTube, where I have all my replays of the show as well, and 1,500 videos you can check out there, and on Pinterest, and on Blue Sky, and on there's one other one. I don't know which one it is. But if you want to look me up on Instagram or Threads, it's the real Barry Selby. And I think that's everything. Oh, did I mention that? Yes. You also mentioned my book. Yes, thank you. My best-selling book has been out. Well, actually, it came out in 2013. It's been renewed in 2023. It's a bestseller. It's about love and relationships. It's really about 50 principles for you to have a healthy relationship. Have a healthy relationship. It's called 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, but really it's the one in the mirror. So get my book. It's on my book page. If you want to get a preview of the book, on the book page, there is a 12, 13-minute review of my book by 2 AI-generated professional sounding voices that sound really good and they know my book inside out. So you can get a taste of my book from that, and then you can go to Amazon and get a copy yourself. I think that's everything.
Perfect. And we will be back. We're always here live at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern and all the times in between. We would love for you to join us. You can ask us a question live while we're here. We're happy to answer it. And then you can watch our replays on Roku or on YouTube on your devices. But you can take us with you and listen, right, Barry?
Yes, indeed, because our show is a podcast, as you mentioned before as well. So it's actually an audio version as well as a video audio platform. So if you listen to podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to them, look for Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry, and you can listen to us wherever you go. And frankly, that will be something you can change your life when you're out on the road. If you're wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just stick it in your ear and get some good input about love and relationships. So definitely follow us there. And as mentioned, subscribe, like, share us with your friends, because our stuff is good content.
It is. And you'll help you have connections when you're out in the world.
Indeed.
And we'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.
See you later. Take care.